I'd completely forgotten how epic that soundtrack is. Hello and welcome to a look at a Space Crusade for the Amiga, a game that is set in the Warhammer 40k universe. Basically, it's a board game that's been translated to computer. And in this game, you play one of three Space Marine chapters, I think they're called. Blood Angels, Imperial Fist, or Ultramarines, and each team has certain strengths and weaknesses. And because the commander of the Blood Angels is a melee beast, and melee is something that's very important in this game, I decided to go with the Blood Angels. I should preface this by saying that I'm not a Warhammer 40k buff in any way, shape or form. There's certain of the games I will enjoy and there's certain of the games I don't enjoy. But I don't have any preference. I wouldn't buy a game because it's a Warhammer 40k game. Just to get that out of the way. If a game is good, I'll play it, and if it's not good, then I will probably still play it because I'm an idiot, but never mind. Anyway. In this game, you are tasked to go out and clear certain objectives. Some huge space hulks need to be cleared, emptied, whatever. You need to pick up another object or rescue someone or whatever. And in order to do that, you can deploy your commander and 4 marines. And each chapter have unique orders and equipment. There's some crossover between them, but they do have some unique things that are unique to the individual Space Marine chapter, and you can mix and match within the limitations set by your rank. Your commander starts as a sergeant, and as you complete missions and you gain honors, you can spend set honors on getting promotions, which ultimately is the end goal of this game, is to get promoted to Commander Superior, I think it's called, and then if you can only get that rank by completing all the missions. And then if you complete the missions with all honors, you can get promoted to Commander Superimus, I think it's called, which is the highest rank you can obtain. And that is the ultimate goal of the game. Sad to say it, but the Marines as units don't really count for much. They are basically just weapon platforms and target dummies. The only one that's truly important is your commander. You will get a penalty for losing your Marines, but ultimately, as long as the commander survives, he is the one that you progress, he's the one that you will save and rank up and that kind of stuff. So any marine is lost will be replaced. And so will the commander, but if you lose a high ranking commander, he will be replaced by a new sergeant. By the way, I went back to the equipment because the objective for this mission is to fight a dreadnought. And fighting a dreadnought without melter bombs is a bit dicey. But let's get into the mission itself. You start the mission in your connection dock thing, airlock thing, whatever, and then you have to go and search through the map, looking for enemies and completing your objective, and then return to this bay before the turn limit has been reached. You can play this game 1 to 3 players, and if the other chapters are being played by players, they will have their own docking bay, connection bay, whatever thing it's called. And the chapter that manages to complete their objective first and get out is considered to be the winner of the map or mission. You do have the ability to fight each other, but cooperation is encouraged but not required. So if you play this game alongside someone you like or don't like, you can get some very interesting moments out of it. The game, as you can probably tell, is turn-based, and in between turns, there's a chance that a random event will occur. It can be good, it can be neutral, and can be absolutely horrible. And for the purpose of this game, expect every end turn to bring something nasty. If you expect that, then you won't be surprised, because it has a bad habit of bringing something nasty. Your Marines can move and fire in whatever order you decide. And of course, when you've ended your turn, it's time for the computer to make its moves. The dice numbers you can see are red and white. The red ones are heavy dice and they can roll from 0 to 3. The white ones are light dice and they can roll from 0 to 2. Those numbers are important because you need a combined score of a certain amount in order to hit a target. And one of the equipment pieces we got on our commander is a force shield that increases his armor by 3 points, making him versatile, immune to small on fire, or bolt of fire if you want. Melee combat, though, functions slightly different. When you get into melee, both the attacker and defender will roll their dice, and whoever rolls the highest number will win the combat and deal damage based on the difference between the two rolls. The normal Marines have 1 hit point each, and the commander has 6. So having the Marines in melee is usually rather dangerous even, but in the case of the Blood Angels commander, having him in melee is usually quite strong because of the 2 weapons he's using. So he has 2 heavy dice and 2 light dice, and all numbers are added together for the combat rolls. By the way, that event card was one of the so-called random event cards where the wielder of the heavy weapon was out of ammo, effectively losing that heavy weapon for the mission. And here, showcasing the plasma cannon, you do 1 attack roll, and that attack roll will apply to everything in a straight line, whether it's a straight line or a diagonal. And that is why you probably noticed we blew up some rubble and an enemy was further down the line, because the attack roll was high enough to blow up the rubble and damage the enemy. That should be plenty. The missile launcher, the way it functions is it will hit target square, and then if you do damage to that square, you will do half the damage to surrounding squares. Oh, random soul sucker. Haha. It fails to do damage, and my Marine Knight amounts to defend himself and beat the soul sucker. So, after that win, it's time to showcase the first failure in this mission. Ran into a room, there was an orc, and I decided to shoot at him with one of my Marines and missed, and then used a plasma cannon and failed to penetrate his armor. Of course, that's not going to be the case all the way around, is it? No, it isn't. While we let the game outrun, let's talk graphics, sound, gameplay, and all that stuff. The graphics are acceptable, nothing spectacular, but you can easily see that those are Space Marines, and those are Orcs, and those are Gretchen, I think they're called, and those are Soul Suckers, and those are Dreadnoughts, and you can get the feeling of running around in a large ship kind of thing. So, I mean, the graphics are not bad, but they are not spectacular either. Something I'm not showcasing, by the way, is that you have an option to switch to a isometric 3D view. The combat view, you see, you can actually move around in that, but I find it very, very obnoxious. So I usually don't use that view. The soundscape of this game, the title music is epic. That's the only word for it. As I said in the beginning of the video, I completely forgotten how good that piece of music is, and it is a very good piece of music. Definitely worth listening to. The rest of the sound effects are gunshots or bolter shots, plasma shots, whatever. Guns, explosions, hits, and they can sound a bit aggressive, but I suppose, I mean, the whole entire setting of Space Marines and all that stuff is in your face kind of aggressiveness. So I suppose it is very, very fitting for the game. I do think the sound effects are a bit coarse, but by and large, the sound design is of a very high quality. The gameplay, it is what you see it is. Turn-based combat where you are the victim of so-called RNG. The RNG can feel extremely heavily weighted towards the computer. As you can see, another random soul sucker. They are melee monsters, and they will obliterate anything in their path, usually including your commander. Even if you use the Blood Angels commander, who's a melee specialist, they will still obliterate you. Just going to showcase an option you have to use the airlocks or doors as weapons if they are dumb enough to stand in the door and you've got the remote control. Just close the door on them. It's not good for their health, by the way. But as I was saying, the RNG can feel extremely heavily against you, and I think anyone who's played this game can testify to have experienced doing a mission, doing quite well on a mission, a random soul sucker spawns and obliterates their entire group of Marines and Commando. If you haven't experienced that, you haven't played this game. And for my liking, it's something that happens a bit too consistently for it to be so-called a random occurrence. No, I'm not going to say that the game is rigged, but because it is a computer game and because you're not throwing your dice yourself, every single time a bad dice roll goes against you, there's this small voice in the back of your head whispering, rigged, rigged, rigged. At least if you throw the dice yourself, you can consider it to be an unlucky roll. But that's part of the package, and it is not necessarily a very pleasant part of the package. Oh no, though. I am not familiar with the board game, so I don't have any reference to go by, but board games being converted to computers are... The idea is good, because it gives people a chance to play a board game they like without necessarily having someone to play with. But of course, you don't have the option to flip the board in the face of someone who just annoyed you. So you don't have that luxury. Space Crusade, it doesn't change. What you see is what's going to be consistent for the entire game. Mission maps will change slightly, the objectives will change slightly, the enemy composition will change slightly, but everything else will stay the same. You don't get any new equipment, you can get more equipment available as you rank up your commander, and more orders and that kind of stuff, but there's no new items, there's no new nothing. What you see from the first game is what you'll have for the entirety of the game. And just going to showcase bumping into what we're supposed to be killing, the Dreadnought. But it ends up killing my commander. Well, Space Crusade is not a bad game, but if you're not a fan of being molested, butchered, torn to shreds by so-called RNG, it is very, very hard to recommend this game, no matter how much you may enjoy the gameplay. If you can enjoy that kind of stuff, it's not a bad game at all. And on that note, thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time. Bye bye for now.